Hello friends, today's session is very important where we will discuss what is key risk indicator, what is key performance indicator. Both terms are very similar but a lot of differences between each other. Both components are very important from business perspective and very confusable itself. When an interview such terminology is asked, the keywords may be forgotten. That's why I thought today we will understand what is the exact differences between these two with examples. Let's begin this session. Coming to the next slide. Key performance indicator. What is this? Let me take a pen from here. Key performance indicator, as the name suggests, it's an indicator. Okay, regarding which performance. So in general, if we can say that it's a perform indicator where we can measure different sectors. Different sector means we can measure the uptime, right? We can measure the security performance, we can measure the service quality, we can measure the efficiency. So it's a technical indicator from where we can measure value, and this is used to evaluate the effectiveness of information technology systems which are supporting the organization goals. Why key performance indicator we are using to track the health, performance and effectiveness of IT services, infra and performance of teams. Why is it necessary? Because see, this is actually a kind of proactiveness measure. uh, the importance of key performance indicator, it's used in supporting the service level agreement. It helps in resources planning, improve user satisfaction, enable proactiveness risk. What are the components of KPI to measure GRC? Or we can say how to measure the governance risk and compliance from KPI point of view. The answer is how to measure the governance. So uh, let's use the logic here, guys. It's an indicator, right? Like this. That means we are measuring the progress kind of things. And what is governance? Governance is a setup of policies or internal guidelines in an organization. So our question is saying that how can we measure, right? How can we measure the progress of our internal controls? So how can we measure, right? By measuring the policies management, right? By measure the board committee oversight, all right, by measuring the policies review and update rate, right? Missing policies and reviews and update, right? Percentage of attendance, action items closure rate, internal audit and control, percentage of internal control, internal guidelines findings with closures, ethical records, number of violations. So these are the some key points from where we can measure the governance kind of things. Next, how to measure the risk? Risk means, guys, okay, it's a it's a capability of identifying the gaps and capability of closing the gaps. So how to measure the risk? We need to identify the IT risk. How many residuals and acceptable risk are there? What is this I had covered in the last slide? So stay till last slide. Number of risk mitigation plan, number of security incidents with breaches percentage. How to measure the compliance? Compliance means, guys, like the comply of rules and regulations or with regulators. So regulatory requirements percentage met. Open cases to comply with regulators with target timelines to achieve. Okay, fines and penalties and third party compliances. What is KRI? KRI means key risk indicator. If we can, if we can discuss more about key risk indicator, right? It's very simple. It's an indicator, right, from where we can measure the measure the level of risk. How to measure? How to measure? By having the risk description, right? By having the risk category, by having the impact of the risk, by measuring the corrective actions, and by measuring the target timeline we have. So, key risk indicator is a measurable metric used to track and monitor potential threats. It helps in early detection of risk, which allowing timely mitigations and better risk management. Very important. What is difference between appetite, tolerance, and capacity? What is appetite? Risk appetite is a risk that an organization willing to accept. That means organization is happy to accept the risk to achieve the objective targets. Risk tolerance means a degree of deviation in risk is called a risk tolerance. Example. Uh, I have a credit card, right? Uh, where I have current spent rupees 100. Okay. But I thought that I can also spend rupees 150 after spending 150. I have some doubt that I cannot pay in next billing due cycle. So the additional 150 rupees which I had paid by seeking the impact of negative impact is called the risk tolerance. That means I can just added the additional risk of 150 rupees is called the risk tolerant. So the degree of deviation. So in this example, 150 is the degree of deviation. Risk capacity, it's a threshold level. It's a threshold level of risk organization have after this threshold negative impact starts. So this is the basic difference between appetite tolerance and risk capacity. Do comments guys if you have any query or support required. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.